Welcome to Let's Talk Library with your host, Annie Archive.
Let's talk copyright. Now, copyright's a huge topic, and you could talk about it for about 14,000 hours because it gets really complicated. But we're going to kind of talk about the basic definition of copyright. So, copyright is the legal right granted to an author of an original work that lets them decide how their piece is going to be used and distributed. So, for example, if I wrote a song, then I have the legal right to decide how I want my song to be sung, how I want it to be used, distributed, whatever. If I took a picture, I have the legal right to decide how it's going to be posted online or in social media. So I have the legal right over something that I've created. Now, that's all well and good, but it starts getting kind of fuzzy when some of the exceptions come into play. So last time we talked about fair use, so you have that exception of fair use. So if it's being used in a parody or a satire or for educational purposes, your copyrighted work now kind of has some ways that it can be used and distributed without your specific permission. It also has the exception of the time restriction. So it is valid, the copyright is valid from your life, so your entire lifespan, plus a few decades. It's about 50 to 100 years after you die. Once that has expired, it then goes into the public domain, and it's pretty much fair game for anyone. Sometimes you can get a copyright renewal on it, but that gets all kind of complicated, and that's really up to your estate because you're dead at this point. Also, you can have a restriction when it comes to international use. So there are international copyright laws, but because each country gets to define its own copyright laws, things start to get a little muddy and kind of funky. So sometimes when you cross borders, then your use and distribution of your work kind of gets a little fuzzy. So there are lots of exceptions and rules and regulations to copyright law, but it's really important to kind of just understand the basic rights that copyright grants an original author or an artist.